Hi, I'm Sophia, I'm 33, and I live here in Lisbon. And honestly, I thought I had my whole life figured out. I'm an architect, and for me, everything was about control, straight lines, perfect plans. But I'm here today to tell you the story of how that obsession with control was completely demolished by the most chaotic, stubborn, and annoyingly beautiful woman I've ever met. Her name is Anna. Imagine a woman with a smile that takes up her whole face. Short and messy hair that she's always fixing, and brown eyes that seem to know exactly how to take me apart. Yeah, I fell for her. And this is the crazy story of how it all happened. It all started because of a park. I had the project, my big career moment. It was meant to be modern, clean, perfect, basically a reflection of me in concrete form. The problem? The city council forced me to work with a local consultant. And that consultant was her, Anna, the woman who, weeks before, had led an online petition calling my project a soulless concrete prison. Our first meeting was a disaster waiting to happen. She arrived with dirt under her nails and a defiant glint in her eyes. I arrived with my plans and zero patience. The war was declared right there in the middle of that empty lot. What I had no idea about was that I was about to lose, not the project, but total control of my heart. I live in Lisbon, a beautiful city, but one that, like all cities, can have its dark corners. And I wonder, have you ever felt like you needed to hide a part of yourself to fit in? Have you ever experienced a love that both scared and excited you at the same time? If so, leave a comment below and tell your story. We want to create a community where all forms of love are celebrated. Our collaboration on the park project began, and every day was a delicious torture. We worked in my office, a space that was once my sanctuary of order, and was now invaded by Anna's creative chaos. She would bring samples of soil, wildflowers, and her energy filled every corner. Our meetings were less about concrete and more about how the sunlight would filter through the leaves of a tree. She taught me that beauty didn't have to be rigid, and I taught her how to use AutoCAD. She called it my torture program. But her eyes would light up every time she learned something new. There was a mutual admiration growing between us, a chemistry that was impossible to ignore. Our little work bubble was perfect. The problem was the world outside. One afternoon, we were having lunch at a small cafe, laughing at a story she was telling me, and I felt the stares. An older couple at the next table, looking at us with a curiosity that was cold, sharp. Anna's smile faltered for an instant, and she looked down. I felt a wave of anger and fear. The fear I had spent my whole life avoiding. In that moment, I realized the courage it took to be like Anna, to live her truth so openly. That night, I invited her to my apartment for dinner. I needed to show her that, with me, she didn't have to hide. We cooked together, a fun disaster in my immaculate kitchen. The music was soft, the wine was good. I saw how they looked at us today, I said, my voice soft. Anna shrugged, but I saw the hurt in her eyes. I'm used to it, she whispered. But you shouldn't have to be, I replied, my hand finding hers across the table. No one should. That touch was a promise. A promise that, at least in our world, love wouldn't have to apologize. The night deepened, and our dinner turned into a conversation that lasted for hours. Sitting on my couch with the city sparkling outside, we talked about everything and nothing. Our first loves, our fears, the dreams we still had. With every story, every confession, I felt my own walls crumbling, brick by brick. The attraction I felt for her was no longer just physical. It was a connection of souls, a feeling that I had known her my whole life. She was telling me about a trip she took, her eyes shining, and I was no longer listening to the words. I was just watching her. The way her short hair fell across her forehead, the warmth of her smile. Without thinking, I reached out and brushed a lock of hair from her face. My fingers lingered on her skin, and the air grew thick. She stopped talking. The world shrank to the space of inches between us. She leaned in slowly, her eyes asking a question I was too scared to answer. My heart was pounding. Was this the moment? The moment I risked everything? Fear won. I looked away, breaking the spell. It's getting late, I whispered, my voice betraying me. I saw the disappointment flash across her face before she hid it behind an understanding smile. Yeah, I should go. The goodbye at the door was awkward, full of unsaid words. That night, I didn't sleep. The image of her face, of the almost kiss, haunted me. My fear had cost me a moment of pure truth. The next morning, I knew what I had to do. I went to the park site and found her there, sketching in a notebook. "Anna," I said, my voice steady. "I'm a coward." She looked up, surprised. "I've spent my whole life building walls to protect myself, following the safe plan. And last night, when the most real and beautiful thing in my life was right in front of me, I ran." I walked closer to her. "I don't know where this is going, and I'm terrified. But I know I don't want to be afraid of being happy anymore." Before she could answer, I leaned in and kissed her. It was a kiss that sealed the end of my perfectly controlled life and the beginning of my real one. And it was the best decision I had ever made.